If you don't love me, leave me. Told my jeweler one time, freeze me. Put some diamonds where my heart used to be. Racks on racks is all I ever need.
This all took place in 2018 when my father, who was young and healthy, suddenly died of unexplained causes. I knew that I had to go to Jamaica to bury him, even though I had very little money saved. The best way to save money in Jamaica is to take public transportation. So here I am at the Kingston Bus Park paying $15 US for a ride to the parish of Manchester, and the goal is to get to the town of Mandeville. Next, I had to get to Maypen City, which is in another parish called Clarendon. That was a 45-minute taxi ride for $5. I had no idea how to get to my grandmother's house, but I described it to the taxi man, and he actually brought me right to the gate. So this is where my grandmother lives, countryside. Even though she wasn't expecting me, my room was just as I left it, and of course the lizards were waiting. This is what the country sounds like. My grandmother lives in a very tight-knit, small community where everybody knows everything about everyone, and there's not a lot to do there. I spent most of my days lounging around the property or just exploring the community.
The coal stove. This is the coal that you put in the coal stove. Okay. Then you add kerosene to it. Then you use matches or lighter to light it. Okay. And then you let it catch. Then you put the pot on it.
Where are you taking me, little girl? I don't know why you bring me here.
I like to see the fish. I like to see the pond.
Disgusting. How hot is it right now?
Very hot. Welcome to Woodland. Not me.
Sweating.
Oh,
What do you say? What do you mean, not you? Get in the camera, little one. Vote. Oh, is that the evil one right there? Didn't forget about you. Why did the chicken cross the road? My cousins took me to the river in Chapelton to swim. Some people also came here to bathe or to wash their cars. And then they showed me how they get fresh water. Where's the tap? Oh, right there. There's a valve, and the water comes from a pump.
How many will?
On Sunday, my grandmother took me to church, but after literally 3.5 hours, I snuck out and decided to spend the rest of the day waiting for her outside. I had another cousin take me around the community to show me which land belongs to our family. Turns out we own a lot of property. My cousin's mansion that he's building.
Make me feed them most of the time.
And my grandmother just sent me back into the room to get dressed properly. I don't know what that means. Just walking on the countryside. Okay, almost dropped. I would spend most days just roaming the community, getting to know the area, but every turn I would take, I would meet a new family member. So beautiful here. I'm not going home. Mom, how's the snow out there?
How's the snow? You know some of that Jamaica. Yes.
In the ice box.
It's up.
Okay. Oh, hell no. Look at all these damn savage dogs. And of course, every time I would get close to someone's house, my grandmother would send for me. She always knew where to find me. She scooped me up to go grocery shopping in Maypen City. This is us walking through the supermarket. It was an interesting experience because I was shocked at how expensive some of the food was. Pretty sure this works out to $7 for a box of cereal. Luckily for us, we only eat Whole Foods. So there's the callaloo there. Yep. Rice and gungo peas. And we just picked ackee. Every chance I got, I would be on another adventure with one of my cousins, just exploring the city and going to different towns. Caught in the rain, but it could be snow. My family roots go back in this area for over 100 years. So every single street we went on, there was some sort of family history to be learned. It was actually a really, really neat experience. We took a lot of detours, took the long route, just so that every day would be a different experience for me. I tried new foods, I tried new snacks. I really had the ultimate Jamaican experience that most people never ever get to have. I truly do feel blessed. So I meet this lady in the community and she has a daughter that's approximately my age, but twice my size. Walking outside with her, trying to get to know her, asking her a little bit about, school, aspirations, whatever, so forth. Her first question back to me is, so what, you're not leaving me none of your clothes, them? My clothes? Yes, Grandma, where are we gonna find Tim Hortons? No Tim Hortons for me. Okay, that's all right, Grandma. Coffee, donuts. Yeah, I like the cheese croissants. On this day, we hit the road at 6 o'clock in the morning to St. Thomas. My dad was being buried in Morant Bay, and it was going to take approximately 3.5 hours to get there. Plus, we had to make a stop in Kingston to pick up a friend of mine. Okra, sweet potato.
Sweet sub tree.
Yeah,
Yeah, that a planting behind me there.
plantain. Okay. Oh.
I didn't even think you did ever see a king like this before.
Oh, we got a pipe road, isn't it? You know that pipe road was a garbage shop, isn't it? Yeah. And a garbage shop for the last place, remember, I have it on my hand, isn't it? Yeah. And when I go,
Nice.
and a garbage shop my left front.
At this point, I laid my father to rest and said my final goodbyes, and then we hit the road. When we got back to Clarendon, I wasn't recording much, basically just enjoying my grandmother's company and being as positive as possible. However, a couple days later, it was time for me to head to the north side of the island. So the first thing I had to do was get back to Mandeville, to the bus park, to try to catch another public transportation up to Montego Bay.
Chase it every day, I would know exactly how she back them. I'm alone and the color clothes them and the people them make the place just pretty.
I love it. This bus ride cost me about $7 US. I saved hundreds. All I can tell you is I was drinking 63% overproof rum, so I don't know anything else about that night.
It's a beautiful day in Jamaica. Just looking for the beach, walking distance, so I'll probably be there in about 2 minutes.
It's not very often that I spent the entire day at the hotel, but when I did, it was always by the pool and as close to the bar as possible.
Thank you.
This was definitely not a peak travel season for Jamaica, so everywhere I went, I was almost completely alone. It was really relaxing. However, things down on the hip strip can be pretty expensive, so with 2 weeks left in my trip, I had to move into a shared Airbnb space. This area is so beautiful and it's secluded enough, but also very accessible. All I had to do was walk to the end of the street, down a small hill, and I had access to local taxi cabs that could take me right into the city so that I could go and get food. My last week spent here in Montego Bay was definitely an interesting one. Lots of life lessons and lots of scary situations that I'll save for another time. St. James is also under a state of emergency, so there was curfew set in place and military presence